Have you ever felt like you're falling endlessly with no ground beneath you? That's the void, a concept as intangible as it is powerful, yet something we all encounter in deeply personal ways. It's not just an empty space, it's a state of mind, a moment that challenges us to confront who we are when everything else fades away. In this video, we'll explore the many dimensions of the void, how it shapes our emotions, influences our art, and forces us to reflect on life's biggest questions. Is it something to fear, or is it a blank canvas waiting for meaning? And here's a fun way to get involved. If the void were a person, what kind of character would they be? Would they be a mysterious, shadowy figure always lurking in the background, or a quirky minimalist sipping espresso at a cafe? Maybe they're even a silent artist painting endless black canvases. Drop your wildest ideas in the comments below, and let's see who comes up with the most creative vision. Who knows? Your idea might be the one that makes everyone laugh, think, or connect in a totally unexpected way. The void isn't just a philosophical concept. It's like the world's most dramatic life coach, showing up unannounced, clearing out everything comfortable, and leaving you standing there wondering, what now? It doesn't explain itself. It doesn't hand you a step-by-step guide. No, the void just stares back at you with that silent, judgmental energy, waiting for you to figure it out. But maybe that's the point. The void isn't there to give you answers. It's there to make you ask the questions you've been avoiding. Think of it as the ultimate blank canvas, whether you like it or not. Sure, at first it feels like standing on stage in front of a full audience with no script, no plan, and no clue what to do. But once you stop panicking, that empty space starts to look a lot more like freedom. The freedom to create, to build, and to transform. Some of the greatest works of art in history were born from someone staring into their personal void. Take Van Gogh. He faced struggles that could have broken anyone, but instead of giving up, he painted. His pain became his inspiration, and the world got masterpieces like The Starry Night. Now imagine if he just spent those nights binge-watching TV instead. We'd have something like The Starry Netflix queue, and I'm pretty sure that wouldn't hang in the Louvre. But it's not just painting. Music has its own way of embracing the void. Have you ever noticed how the silence between notes in a song can hit harder than the loudest drumbeat? That's the void, creating tension and release. It's what makes the music stick with you long after it's ended. The same goes for movies. The quiet moments before the hero makes their move? That's the void, building suspense, telling you something big is about to happen. Even in real life, the void shows up in the form of awkward pauses. Like when you're on a first date, and there's that uncomfortable silence where nobody knows what to say. Guess what? That's the void too. But here's the thing about the void. It isn't your enemy. In fact, it's probably your greatest ally, as much as it doesn't feel that way. It's there to challenge you, to strip away all the noise and distractions so you can get to the core of what really matters. The void asks, what are you going to do with this blank space? It's not just emptiness, it's possibility waiting to happen. And that's what makes it powerful. Sure, it can feel scary at first, like staring into the abyss. But the abyss is just daring you to create something extraordinary. And now, let's have some fun with this idea. Imagine the void could send you a text message. What would it say? Maybe something cryptic like, hey, just checking in, still empty? Or maybe it's more passive-aggressive like, so, any plans to fill me or picture this. The void slides into your DMs with a cheeky, you up? Because even the void has a sense of humor. Or maybe it's the complete opposite and the void is one of those overly supportive types like, you got this, champ. Go turn me into greatness. Drop your funniest guesses in the comments below. What would your void say to you? Let's hear it, because if there's one thing the void loves, it's making us think, laugh, and maybe even connect with each other in unexpected ways. Let's talk about the flip side of the void. What happens when we try to fill it? Spoiler alert, it doesn't always go as planned. Humans are basically walking Pinterest boards, constantly trying to fill our metaphorical voids with hobbies, distractions, and, let's be honest, questionable online purchases. Ever bought something at 2 a.m. because it felt like the answer, only to wake up and think, why did I buy this glow-in-the-dark yoga mat? I don't even do yoga. That's the void whispering, this will fix everything, and then laughing quietly as you try to return it. And let's not forget the phases we all go through trying to stuff something into the void. Whether it's starting a random hobby like knitting scarves for your dog or deciding you're suddenly an expert on cryptocurrency after reading half an article. The void doesn't stop you, it just sits back with popcorn waiting to see how it all plays out. And let's not forget the food phase. Raise your hand if you've ever tried to bake away your problems. The void loves to convince you that if you can just perfect your sourdough bread recipe, everything will fall into place. Spoiler alert, it won't. But at least you'll have carbs. Or maybe it was a fitness phase. You bought a treadmill during lockdown, promising yourself you'd run every day, and now it's just a very expensive coat rack. The void doesn't judge. It just quietly reminds you that all these distractions are temporary. And that's the thing. No matter how many glow-in-the-dark yoga mats, artisan coffees, or expensive gadgets you throw into the void, it remains. Because the void isn't something you can just shop or binge-watch away. Here's the twist. The void doesn't actually want to be filled. It wants to be transformed. It's like that brutally honest friend who doesn't sugarcoat anything and says, "Listen, you're not going to fix this with retail therapy or another hobby. Sit down and figure it out." And that's the thing about the void. It's uncomfortable because it forces you to confront what really matters. It makes you ask questions like, what do I actually want? Or who am I when all the distractions are gone? And yeah, those are big, messy questions, but they're also the kind that lead to real answers. The void isn't the enemy, it's just the world's weirdest, most cryptic life coach. It's not saying, buy another self-help book you'll never finish. It's saying, hey, maybe sit with me for a while and figure out what actually lights you up. And that's the scariest part, sitting with the emptiness. But once you do, you start to realize that the void isn't the problem, it's the spark. It's the place where new ideas are born, where real growth happens, and where you realize that maybe, just maybe, the glow-in-the-dark yoga mat wasn't the answer. So here's a thought experiment for you. If your void had a personality, what would it be? Would it be that friend who's always cryptic, like, follow the silence, it knows the way? Or maybe it's the overly dramatic type who says, I'm here to break you down so you can rise stronger. Or maybe it's just a chill minimalist sipping black coffee, shrugging and saying, less is more, man. Or hey, what if your void is more like a prankster? You know, the type who hides your keys just to watch you freak out? Drop your answers in the comments below, and let's see who can come up with the funniest or most relatable void personality. And while you're at it, if your void could send you a text, what would it say? Probably something like, still here. Take your time, or, I'm not going anywhere, buddy. Let's laugh about it together, because if there's one thing we all share, it's the void. And luckily, a sense of humor to deal with it. If you've made it this far, congratulations, you've just stared into the void and survived to tell the tale. But the real question now is, what are you going to do with it? The void isn't just a concept, it's an opportunity. So, here's your call to action. Share your own thoughts and experiences with the void in the comments below. How have you faced it? Did you try to fill it with glow-in-the-dark yoga mats or sourdough bread like the rest of us? Or maybe your void has its own unique personality. If it could text you, what would it say? Would it be cryptic like still waiting, or oddly supportive like you've got this? Let's get creative. And if you've been inspired by this video, why not keep the momentum going? Click over to our next video where we explore how to turn uncertainty into growth. It's the perfect follow-up to everything we've uncovered here. Don't let the void have the last word. Take action, share your story, and join the conversation, because the void isn't just about emptiness, it's about possibility. And that next video might just be the spark you're looking for.